jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out that mo. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports.
Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and Game Side official. No negotiation needed, period. Yes, sir. You already know WCS is back in the building. Shout out to Puma, the first in the building, on deck. What it do? I see you, man. We're gonna get down to the reality. I always like to call it the reality because it's going down sooner or later, right? That's all I'm saying. It's going down sooner or later. This fight September. But first, I want to recognize a sighting, a return, a visual. And this ain't a clone, because I remember in July 29th, they were saying that man was a clone. Just somewhat like they were saying Jamie Foxx. But Errol Spence has reappeared. And I said, combat, through all your service to your core and country, you got to serve the community of social media and let them know, just because Errol Spence fans gave up on them, you're not going to give up on letting them know as to why he haven't returned. Shout out to Spence. I enjoy seeing this man with his family. This is genuine. I do respect him enjoying his life. Big ass ranch. We're gonna go through his IG a little bit. I mean, mad property. I know they're going for the low over there in Texas. If I wanted to go over there and get some farmland right now and get me a couple of goddamn feral pigs and build me a goddamn a brigade of feral pigs over that mug, because you know they have babies every other second, and sell that poke. I'll be selling poke rib sandwiches over there, man. But it was good to see him out with his family. You know, he's been out long enough. His hair's grown. It looked like he's been putting that botanical oil all over his scalp. His hair's grown down. You know what I'm saying? He's looking like a Texas Bob Marley, you know, respectfully. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm glad to see Errol Spence is out. He's outside, yo. I know this ain't the only one. I'm just saying I don't keep up with him like that. But let's go through his IG right quick. Let me show you, you know, what that money did. What that money did when he went in there. So let me show you, because I don't see his so-called fans even showing no love to him. But I just want to start out with this right here. This handshake right here. God damn. This handshake has many stories, man. Many chapters, pages. It's just so much to this freaking handshake right here. Because the right hand would be so detrimental. Because going into the fight, They were saying that the man on the left, which was Errol Spence, he had the better jab. It was going to be an unwelcoming moment for Terrence Crawford to be in there with somebody with the educated jab as Errol Spence. But it proved that the man on the right was the one with the bigger paws, the higher IQ. And that right hand, this handshake right here, was sign, seal, deliver, a freaking vacation for Errol Spence Jr. straight from the ring back to the ranch, goddammit. From the ring to the ranch. That's what that handshake did. Hey, salute to both. Both are warriors. No doubt about it. Both are warriors in my eyes. You know, but the chitter chatter, you feel me? The chitter chatter before all of this went down was people was prognosticating that the appointment would be a bit more different. There was a lot of hot-headed YTC creators out here just really stirring up rhetoric, posting agitprop all over the place, a cycle of combinations of freaking propaganda all the time. But this handshake right here, baby, boy, this was the goddamn envelope. This was what you call a grip and grin to seal the deal envelope that had Errol Spence retirement papers signed, sealed, delivered. Damn. I mean, I know some people are going to say, hey, man, you just being a little bit supererogatory with this shit. Like always, combat, man. Why you always got to exacerbate the situation? Why don't you just keep it basic, simple, bro? Why you always got to go over the top with it? Some shit don't need extra extensions on it. You know what I'm saying? Some of that shit don't need to happen in this case, man. You started off the live like you was gonna, talk some. I am talking good about EJ. Let me take this picture down and show you, Errol Spence fans, some of what is really good to see. Let's go through his IG right here. Him and his pops. His pops still in great shape for his age. You know what I'm saying? It's good that he's able to spend time with his pops, real life. You know what I'm saying? Errol's looking like a Texas Bob Marley. Whoever, what other rapper you want to compare him to? But he looks to be in decent shape, and he looks to be damn near close to, 154, somewhere around 160. He had this up. You can't liberate a slave who has found comfort in his captivity. He's teaching the youngin' how to box. Got the Huggies pull-ups. He got him out there on the slab, y'all. Why he had to do the Derrick James on him? See, Derrick, I blame you for him popping this kid in the head. You didn't have to slap Spence in the head when his hair was a little bit shorter. Come on, man. What are we talking about? The man just now learning how to throw some basic fundamental combinations, and you goddamn DJ his ass, man. See, you did it again. Good Lord. Damn. Let me move away from this picture. I don't want nobody calling the law on Spence and come over to the ranch. That's his girl, his daughter, I believe. It looked like she's playing soccer. Yep, looked like she's playing soccer. Some training right there. The cost of not locking in is spending the rest of your life clocking in. That's facts. That's facts. This is what I like. Look at all that land. Look at all that land, y'all. I mean, I'm not sure if that is all his land, because it seemed like he has a good loft of land, but it's not fenced in. I don't know. I don't know, but it seems like he has some wild stock out there, some horses. So it may be an invisible perimeter setup, a shock perimeter. Who knows? But you do see some horses out there. You see some off-road motorcrafts up there. Whoever that is, whether it's Spence or whatever, he seems to be chilling and showing you that he got tree lines for distance, which is great. Which is great. Real talk. It's great to see that. Over here, let's read the comments. Prioritizing my time. Spence clan. Showbiz the adult. That's a good look, brother. The peace every man strives for. Okay. Shout out to End the Ring Christine. She's out there in Texas. So I know she has some kind words for the champ. It says, gotta love the socially awkward guys with nothing going on in their lives who's leaving negative comments because they need Errol to step out and entertain them. Go be with your loved ones like Errol is, and you might realize how heartfelt and admirable this post is. Okay, so it has 4 replies. He's not gonna let you hit, little homie. His loyal fans just expressing how much they miss seeing EJ in the ring. Clearly referred to the people writing negative comments. Loyal fans aren't the problem. God bless you, big homie, and leave the Diddy stuff in another space. You know, you're always gonna have stuff like this, man. You're always gonna have someone that's going to go against the grain. They're not gonna be on par with, you know, the orientation of a new post. Okay. There's some that's not going to be on par with positivity when it comes to Errol sitting out there just enjoying the shade. And it looks peaceful. It's almost like it's a brisk breeze, you know, that's basically caressing the tip of the grass. The grass looks green and inviting and healthy for that livestock. For real. This is a nice, soothing moment for whoever's filming. My favorite fighter to this day, ready for that vicious return, champ. Y'all fans is waiting, bro. Let us know something. Man, it's been a long time, Spence. If not gum boxing, you need to go ahead and announce retirement. Quit keeping your loyal fan base hoping and guessing. I agree with that person right there. And look how many replies they got. 62 replies. Ooh, they was on him. All Things Boxing 817. Let me see what it was all about. I mean, it as and we don't have to worry about him retiring without telling anyone soon. You ain't rushing a thoroughbred Texan, period. I'm happy for EJ. Salty at the same time, man. I wish he was still fighting, but family come first. Still my favorite boxer this generation. Okay, you still got some out there, Shouty. You still got some out there hanging on, man. You know, you still got them out there hanging on, okay? Okay? You still have them hanging on. There's nothing wrong with that. They have options. Some people still hanging on, but I can see the frustration. You know why? Because Errol could do more in addressing his fans. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons why his fans crashed out when the loss happened. Because they was doing so much attention gaining and focus on Crawford in Omaha, Nebraska. And they kind of neglected EJ over there in Texas. But you pretty much get what I'm saying with this. I just wanted to show you a little bit of what was going on with this. Everyone talks about a mother's love, but no one talks about a father's sacrifice. For sure. For sure. Pop's out there helping EJ. You know, they got the equipment, teaching his son that farm life, knowing how to, you know, provide for himself. You know, this the part that's the great part. You know, that's all his property back there. That's a lot of property. I'm pretty sure to maintain that costs a good little penny. But let's hope he's able to come back to the ring. Let's hope he's done well with his money. Son there, sitting there suave, you know, learning how to you know, get off his behind and work. You know, let the land provide for him in the future. Generational wealth. Look like they're getting a little run in. That's a lot of property, y'all. Putting them kids to work. power washing the pavement. You know what I'm saying? That's good shit right there. Errol showing you he looking in pretty decent shape, but I'm not sure what type of shape he in above his shoulders. Him and his girl and his kid, his son. I don't know what this is about. Happy Mother's Day to the two most important women in my life. Okay, this is Mother's Day. EJ is looking like a Texas black cowboy, slash hip hop artist. So, but one thing I can say, he looks happy with his girl. She's still there. It's been a long time since that video. For real, they came a long way. Good for them. His mother, all red. I don't know why women wear red on Valentine's Day. It ain't too much that goes well with red. I'm just being honest with you. They go to fam together. Panoramic top. Old school pick. When EJ looked taller, his hair was lower. Now his hair is longer and he looks shorter. This is what I like right here, y'all. This is what I love. I love this pic right here. I do. I love this pic because his mother has on a smoking bud pack. And boy, I remember the night when we saw her, boy, she looked like she had goddamn just was drinking a whole keg or something, didn't she? She just wanted that all to go away. Yeah, I know a lot of these aerosexuals that was tuning into the live, they had to step away. They had to push away from the goddamn table. They had to put their phone down, bro. Because this right here brought back memories, man. They started crying. Eyes start to heavy. Then that one little teardrop start to trickle down the outer cheekbone. The sinuses start to snot up. They was overrun with emotions and strife. For real. That smoking bud pack shirt. Ooh, that shit is irksome, ain't it? I just had to let that shit marinate right here for a minute. Though the graphics was okay. You know what I'm saying? The graphics was okay. They had the shark pretending like they had Bud Crawford in his mouth. And I never seen a fish smoke a blunt of any type or any type of freaking mechanism that requires someone to inhale smoke. But this shark was different. He's supposed to be smoking on a blunt out of water. Out of water, y'all. This was a different type of fish right here. When I seen that fish with that goddamn Bud Crawford, animated Bud Crawford, split, blunt, broccoli, whatever you want to call it. When I seen him with that shit in his mouth, I said, hell no. It only confirms what I say. Errol has no chance of winning this fight. I've never seen a fish out of water smoking and was able to make it back in that motherfucker. I never in my life, never, ever seen a fish smoking out of water and made it back into the fight. They smoked that shit, and that's where they lied. That's where they became a part of nature. The shirt, his friend who came up with this shit, I would have liked for Vala to be over there with a cup and test that motherfucker's urine too. Because somebody got to tell me who approved it. It got to make some sense. Just the mere fact of a fish walking up the hallway thinking that he's looking for Terrence Bud Crawford in a dark room out of water. Have y'all ever seen a shark walking up the hallway and they didn't have a breathing apparatus attached to him? Have y'all ever seen that shit? Have you ever seen a shark? I'm not talking about a money shark, a loan shark. I'm talking about an actual shark just strolling up the hallway looking for an opponent. I don't care if it's animation or not. It's the thought behind the picture. Have y'all ever seen that before in your lives? I haven't. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't. But I just want to let that sit right there for a little bit. Oh man, it brings me back to that ill-fated night, yo. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people was fatigued the next day. You feel me? A lot of people made a crippling decision to stop covering boxing, to close down their channels. A lot of people didn't understand that was just a preamble to what's to come. What Crawford did to EJ that night was the same thing that Blunt did on the shirt of a smoking bud pack. It killed off an entire fan base. And as though I don't want to bring this up, but we have no idea when Errol Spence is going to return back to the square. We don't know. He has pictures out here. You know what I'm saying? He has pictures. There goes that other guy. There's a sighting right there. His protege, Frank Martin. He is still living. Somebody said he had been abducted by unidentified aliens or something like that. But he's still here. That looks like him. It might be a clone though. You know how them clones work. But he has some video out there. Okay. Just go out there, to his IG, check him out, show your support. If you aerosexuals are still living, like this picture right here with him wearing that smoking bud pack. I mean, that did him in. You don't wear a smoking bud pack shirt, facing off against an animal like Terrence Bud Crawford, who's about to go in here and shut down another fan base. He wore the smoking bud pack shirt, smoking on bud, to the face off and everything as the unified champion, the IBF and WBC champion, while Crawford was the current reigning WBO champion, right? Not only that, Spence was the WBA champion also, which, it could have been plenty of times that Crawford, a lot of us, including myself, would have liked if Crawford just picked up that WBA belt from Ugas, but they had to allow, Spence to get it. They had to allow Spence to get it, to make everything cool, to fit the narrative that he was the heavy lifter. But really, the heavy lifter was Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Crawford was the heavy lifter. You want to know why? I'll explain to you why Crawford was the heavy lifter during this whole process. Because how he dispersed Errol Spence last year allowed him to be able to force that man not to take the rematch, then carry on with his plans to move up a division and become 4 division champion, taking a fight, the first fight at 154 against a champion. Let's reflect on that now. Let's reflect on that a little bit. Let's pay attention to it like loose leaf paper in a composition notebook. It's a reason why those pages are not in there, because you had notes on there. Let's look at the copious notes that was taken. This man has moved up from 40 to 47 championship fight, 47 to 54 championship fight, right? He did the heavy lifting, because it's not as easy as people think moving up and having championship fights at higher divisions. Not only that, but to be considered the underdog. A lot of people didn't think Crawford was going to beat Jeff Horn because he was a tough Aussie fighter. See, U.S. fans love giving these neighboring foreign fighters default credit. They start their boxing FICO off when Crawford is their opponent at 999.9. They do. Crawford goes in there barely struggling, like he got chapter 13s, 14s, and 15s on his credit. They start him off with 360. But he went up there and did what he was supposed to do. But the earthquake of all tremors is about to happen in September. People don't want to talk about it, all because Turkey want to play games, removing the fight off the docket. Why they still trying to put the fight on in Vegas. You have people just now trying to get their release papers from the institution that they signed up for July 30th, 2023, because they just couldn't deal with the pain. Operation No Mas, man. Crawford is about to go in here and shut down another fan base, man. The wild part about it, I used to hear all these people talk about how they were so braggadocious on Canelo Alvarez starting boxing at 15 years old. And I look, it's okay if you leave. It's okay if you listen. It's all good. It's called OPTIONS. Okay, you have options. There's been a lot that's overlooked by Crawford when he was moving up. He had to climb upwards. He didn't get it easy. He had to climb to this point. Not only was he climbing, but every step he took, every rung that he completed, you had boxing fans, U.S. boxing fans, telling him, hey, man, what are you doing? That's not smart. What are you doing? Huh? Who's encouraging you to do this? What are you thinking about? It's weight classes for a reason. Just because we kiss and we hydrate ourselves off Canelo's sweat, just because we massage his feet, just because we taste the cinnamon from his red hair, hey, that doesn't mean you can move up and think you can beat this guy. Some fighters aren't meant to be beaten. And then you explain to them, well, he already has 2 freaking defeats. That's when he was green. What about with Bivol? That he was trying to be great. What about Crawford? Man, his weight is, come on, man. You asking too many questions. Weight divisions for a reason. Crawford is too small. Crawford's too small. Then if Crawford's too small, let's just do a little bit of soul searching now. If the man is too small to step in there with Canelo, why is there so much concern now? Like, the shit was funny in the beginning when he was on Sway and he was making his rounds and shit. And they wanted to ask about, what do he think about Crawford, when everybody started to pick it up and run with it just like it was the 4x100. Yeah, it was easy for Canelo to sit up here and tell the people that, yeah, Crawford is not that guy. But his resume, his body of work, his mindset, his entire encompassing skill set, his cachet of weapons that he used, it's been rumored. You know how those mythological freaking secrets come out, right? It's been rumored that Crawford has not been able to utilize or maximize his entire skill set inside the ropes. Why? Because his competition hasn't pulled it out of him yet. That's what has been rumored. That's what has been rumored. It's been rumored that he still has a lot left to basically display in front of the boxing masses. And that's dangerous. But back to Canelo, though. Canelo has had it very, very well. I'm not going to go down I did that the other day. Who's the Hall of Famer? No, we passed that. We already know both fighters at this point are Hall of Famers, right? There's no reason to weld the comparison together, do any strict, deep brainstorming exercises and all that shit. No, we don't need to do that. We're at a point right now where Crawford, who is supposed to be the smaller fighter, is looking like the bigger fighter. Turkey Al-Sheikh had to bring them together. See, the reason why this is so epic on my part, because when I was at Beverly Hills, right? When I touched down on Beverly Hills, and I was marching with a full 30-inch step up to the hotel for the presser that PBC had put on. I had the opportunity to get the best seat in the house, even though there was resurgency to my presence there. Yes, it was insurgency. People was trying to get me removed for no damn reason. But just like Crawford, I had to work my way through the traffic. Right, I ended up getting the best seat in the house due to my experience and everything. I say, just something about this seat right here next to the banister. Oh my God. They came out and they shadow boxed right there in front of me. I was like, oh my goodness, that's the best ever. You know what I'm saying? I get to see both of these fighters in the same room, presser, and then I get to see them face off. But there's one part of that that showed me once again that there are certain individuals who hang around this sport and they call themselves fans, but yet they know very little about what the entire encapsulation of boxing consists of. They know how the routine works on fight week. Some fight weeks they have open workouts. Some fight week they have final pressers, and then they have the weigh-in. Okay, they're gonna have the weigh-in. Then after the weigh-in, boom, it's fight night, right? I remember being in Beverly Hills when they faced off against each other before the presser, and I was like, hey, Spence has some pounds to drop. This is going to be interesting. He's still big. And see, I wasn't talking about muscular big. I just felt like what I was looking at, that man still has some weight to drop. And then I looked at Crawford, and Crawford always looked to be in somewhat in the proximity, you know what I'm saying, maintaining some form of discipline. And I heard people chattering and shit, and then I went online. I was hearing certain people that was straight up Errol Spence fans to my Crawford looked like Errol's little brother. He looks like his little brother. Man, Crawford looked Errol looked way bigger than Crawford. And I said, damn, these are people who call themselves hardcore boxing fans, but yet they're missing the point of it has to be a weigh-in. They're missing the point that we still have several weeks remaining. Knowing how that whole situation played out is somewhat of the same chorus that we have heard leading up to the Canelo fight, that Crawford is again the smaller fighter. People start to change their mind without even processing it ahead of time. Proactively, they supposed to be considered hardcore boxing fans, right? But why are you trying to tell me that you can't figure this shit out? They was busy hoping and wishing that Crawford has a tune-up fight, just so they can attempt to see him get beat, right? But they're not factoring in, if you provide somebody with ample preparation, it's going to help for solid performance, right? So when Turkey Al-Sheikh brought him in the ring and they faced off, clearly Canelo had rehydrated for his fight, right? We get to see both fighters live and live in color. You couldn't get any closer to both fighters. Terrence Crawford on the schedule. Since Sean Porter, I'm just going to stop it at Sean Porter. From then on, fought once a year. But yet when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, it took for them facing off in the ring for people to start to reevaluate how they was zooming in and what their narrative was. Oh shit, Crawford looked bigger than Canelo. God damn, Canelo's not taller than Crawford. I mean, they was going around acting like Canelo was the Mexican Hulk. Am I lying? They was going around acting like Canelo was the Mexican Hulk, yo. Like I just didn't see it. They act like Canelo was drinking Mexican petroleum. He was drinking some type of green liquid that allowed him to go from Canelo to the Hulk. I just didn't see it. And I'm looking, I say, oh man, whoever's over there, in the lab, keeping up with Crawford's nutrition and everything else, his physique looks great. It looks solid. But when you saw Canelo in there with Skull, man, it looked like a piece of old Laffy Taffy. Or those of you that had school desks back in the day, it looked like old gum on the bottom of the top of your desk. It just didn't look right, man. It looked like uncooked pork. Canelo's physique looked like a piece of bacon with a lot of fat on it, and it wasn't cooked yet. He just didn't have like he was healthy, like he had trained for the school fight. He made weight, yes, but he just didn't look like something I would say that's impressive. Like, okay, he's holding some muscle. I mean, because he's a true 168 pounder, right? But he just didn't look solid. Whereas Crawford, his whole mindset is, in my opinion, he's holding a lot more weight up top to prove to the people. Not just not the fact that he can go in there and beat Canelo. I don't think Crawford's primary POA, his plan of attack, is just to go in there and beat Canelo. That is one of the priorities. But I believe Crawford's mindset also is the fact that the fans, the haters, the ones who continue to get close from behind and try to stab him in the back and act like his boxing IQ is not up on the highest level. They keep on acting like they want to include 14 pounds into the equation, like it's absolutely impossible for this man to take a year off and put on enough muscle that's comfortable for him to move around in that square. I mean, these are people that's obviously uneducated about how someone's physical training regime has to be, what the nutrition, what the calorie intake has to be. They're uneducated. All they're doing is going off, reading line for line, listening to people. A lot of these cats that's consider themselves to be boxing fans, they're not reading articles. A lot of these cats just go to chats and listen. They don't want to read because they're not so-called that enthusiastic about boxing. So you can always know when you have a messenger. You remember when Paul Revere was riding? They come over there with no head and shit. And they just be mumbling some shit. I mean, you're like, I know exactly where they got that information from. There's a whole lot of deceptive information that's being passed. I'm just being honest. It's a lot of incorrect information that's been out there. But for Bud Crawford, it's a dangerous game they play with targeting a person, like I say, and like he's always said, that always felt that he had to prove himself. You know what I'm saying? He always felt like he had to prove himself. That's dangerous. He always felt like he had to prove himself, y'all. That's dangerous, man. as much as what I've been seeing is going on with Turkey Al Sheik, I'm gonna hold my grace, right? And say, hey, for Crawford, the aura is gonna hold him down. Because fights like this, spiritually, they're different than most fights that's of a high magnitude. This is different, yo. This is a different type of fight. I don't like using what ifs and all this other, you know what I'm saying, timely solar freaking time release type of thought process that people get headaches and migraines about just because they want to come up with 100 points of hypothetical, you know what I'm saying, scenarios and shit. No, I believe that fights like this is for a reason. When a fighter is driven past what they already know as a fighter and a pugilist, when they're driven far past that, their mental strength is different. I'm being honest. I think Crawford's mental strength is different than Canelo because it's not Canelo's fault that Crawford wasn't a mainstream fighter, you know, with the media. Yeah, it's not Canelo's fault that Crawford wasn't as popular as he is. Canelo would have always been as popular if everything played out the way it did. Canelo should always be where he was because that's who he was. That's who he had become. That's what he built, and that's what he continued to grow from. You know, he stepped in there with Floyd. Yeah, Floyd was one fight where they felt that Canelo was able to step in there and beat the guy, and it didn't happen. Ever since then, for a long time, Floyd was the only loss on Canelo's record. No blame there. Crawford's personality is not too far different from Canelo. Canelo don't have a personality to me. You know, him being a Mexican fighter for a long time, he didn't even speak English when he knew English. His personality ain't all that funny and outgoing. Real talk. It's just Crawford. He just wasn't trying to deal with the media, period. But Canelo, you know, at least he would talk and have a translator there back in the day. Now he's chose on the back end of his career to come out and speak a little bit more English and have a little bit more fun. But you notice Canelo always say things that people don't hold him accountable for. He always take jabs. He always take hooks to the body, you know, and people allow Canelo to get away with that. They just allow him to say things. If Crawford says certain things, you know, these fans, this collective group of haters, they won't believe any of it. They were still up here playing that same banjo, tapping their feet, type of goddamn groove that he ain't fought nobody and all this other stuff. But what about when he goes in there in September and the fight starts to play out quite different than what the haters imagine? I mean, these are not Canelo haters, so to speak, in its totality. We're talking about the Errol sexual haters combined with the Canelo fans. Together, they're up here pushing narratives, trying to basically reinvent the wheel and say that Crawford is too small for the weight class. But they seen him face off. Now they're going to say, well, you know, Canelo is going to knock him out. Okay, I feel if you can say that Canelo is going to knock Crawford out, then I can feel that Crawford's going to stop Canelo. I'm quite different with the cadence in which I speak when it comes to a KO. I'm thinking that either way it goes, Crawford has the ability to get a TKO stoppage. Now you probably ask, hey, Combat, why you ain't talking about a straight knockout period? I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying it can't happen. But to see Crawford's countering measures, ooh, it's lethal. Have y'all seen his countering measures during a fight? Canelo believes that it's going to be 1, 2, 3, ABC. 1, 2, 3, ABC. 1, 2, 3, ABC. He just think it's going to be just in that order. when it comes to Crawford. I don't know. It's not going to happen that way. When he lands that punch that looked like it wasn't enough on it to do what and apply that type of effect that we actually seen the results of July 29th, when he starts to land with accuracy, when he starts to make those appointments and he's punctual with keeping them on Canelo, and people up here start to get the idea, well, Canelo, he needs all these rounds. He needs these final rounds to win. Let's see what happened. That's when it's going to get real. That's when it's going to get absolutely real. Yeah. When y'all start talking, well, I never thought. Yeah, y'all gonna be the same chorus line out there, panhandling on the curve. Hey man, just give me back part. Just give me back past Death Valley, man. Just give me past Death Valley, man. Just give me past Death Valley, man. I can make it from there, man. Just give me a ride, man. You got a pickup truck. No, I'll ride in the back, man. Please, just get me past Death Valley. That's all. I took a one-way trip out here to Vegas, dog. I thought I was going to win. I mean, I still haven't really came back and recovered from July 29th, man. Just get me past Death Valley. And I'll make it back home from there. Where you at? Oh, I live in Florida. You going to make it back to Florida from here? How, dog? You ain't making no sense, man. Why would you put everything on Canelo knowing he was in there with that Omaha monster, bro? Why would you do that, man? I don't know, man. I just thought Canelo was like, I don't know what to say, man. I just wanted revenge, dog. I let revenge get the best of me. Hey, yo, they wanted revenge. Hey, Crawford, they still out here trying to push that revenge on you, man. Hey, this is the timeline of the boxing universe right now. In 2025, they said that Nestor, is his name Nestor Martinez or something like that, supposed to be the backup for Crawford. Now, why would Nestor or anybody else be a backup for Crawford? What about Canelo not showing up to the fight? Who's his backup? Who's his backup? David Benavidez? Who is Canelo's backup if he don't make it to the fight? Because that is a huge possibility that Canelo don't show up September. For real. The old guy is going to look at all the comments of his fans trying to put that jacket on him and say, oh, Canelo's did so much. He's achieved so much. It required so much of his natural energy, his God-gifted ability. He just came out of, look, listen to me. He just came out of a fight camp to fight school while Crawford was just sitting with his feet kicked up doing nothing. And now he expects him to go in there in September and back into a fight camp and do it again. It's just too much. He has too many fights. Canelo don't need Crawford. Look, they're going to start to try to re-emphasize what Crawford said about Spence. He don't need Crawford for the Hall of Fame. Hey, he don't need Crawford to legitimize his career. You know what I'm saying? He don't need Crawford. That's all they're going to say. He don't need. You're right. He don't need a lot of things. But why are they bringing in a backup fighter for Crawford? When has Crawford not shown up? For real. When has Bud been tardy? When has he not been in the building when he was appointed to be there? He's always been there. Real talk. He's always been there. I mean, this is going to be a sonic boom, man. I mean, we're talking about incredible numbers. Incredible numbers. Look, the haters are so bad, y'all. They don't even want to give Canelo and Crawford predictable credit. They don't want to show no type of admiration, bro, that this fight may break records. They want to act like it's nothing, it's simple, it's basic, because they are willing to be stubborn and selfish. They just want to stick to anything with Crawford in it. I'm going to throw my tantrums and go to the corner and pout and put on my cap. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be the class clown. They don't want to give this man no credit. They acting like this fight with Canelo, the reason why people are not going to spend money to show up to the fight is because it's weight classes for a reason. You hear me? They say it's weight classes for a reason, so they're not trying to give it any type of credit that it's going to break numbers. They're speaking as if they're a special team formed just to sabotage, just to be out here and sociably sabotage the magnitude of this fight. They're out here. You have people out here saying that there's no way it's going to even break the top 10. How? This is the biggest fight in boxing. And I'm not going to go up here and try to tell these naysayers how to remedy their objections. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can say what you want. You have no jurisdiction over this freaking fight. You just someone that's on the outside that's able to speak whatever language you speak, and it's able to be interpreted in translation, even though you're saying the same crap over and over again about this. You don't want to give it no type of flow. When you're talking about 2 pound for pound elite fighters going in there, and they're not just contending just for the basics of boxing, just for a scheduled fight, just because, oh man, this is hot on social media. No, you got 2 of the top elite world. We're talking about world elite fighters globally. You understand? It's okay to have passion, but don't be a passionate idiot. Don't sit up here and try to continue to talk like just because now you're upset because Turkey played around and puppetized you all and said the fight was off. Now the fight's back on and you feel some type of way. My suggestion to you is like, hey, let me help you out. The next time Turkey show his face over here in the States, you had plenty of time to go to Times Square and put a palm print on his face, right? You had plenty of time to show up and say, yo, Turk, man, let me have a word with you over here, man. Hey, bro, stop playing with us, bro. If you saying the fight is off, because me and everybody else, that's how them naysayers like to talk. Me and everybody else feels that the fight shouldn't happen. Why? It's the biggest fight. It's Turkey. Listen, let me turn you on the game, Turk. Come on, man. It's only the biggest fight for people who believe that this gonna somehow, some way be warranted because they want to see Crawford, go up there and be in a lopsided fight, Turkey. This ain't gonna be close, Turkey. They're not telling you the truth, man. Over here in the U.S., Turkey, it's a lot of propaganda, bro. We're just trying to turn you on to what it is in the streets. The streets ain't talking about this fight. Well, who would you like for him to fight then? I'm glad you asked. I'd like for Canelo to fight maybe Hami Munguia in a rematch. No, my friend. No one's trying to see that. No. I don't know where you get your information from, but no one's told me they're trying to see Hami Munguia rematch. Okay. I'm just saying. And listen, my friend. You have a lot of energy. I have to get back. I have a big thing to do than argue with you out here. And and what I would tell you to do is get with my people, shoot an email, get a petition sign, okay? And please, I need at least 1 million signatures on that petition for me to cancel this Crawford Canelo fight. If you can do that for me, please, I would appreciate it. All right, that's all. That's all. I don't have nothing else to say. That's all. I'm going. Watch out for the naysayers and listen carefully how they always say, no one, everybody. They want to include the entire masses of phantom freaking spiritual shadows that don't exist, y'all. This is something that is derived in their psychological bank. Shit that they recall and they try to make it seem like it's for real. No, it's fabricated, y'all. You making this shit up. You're up here talking about everybody. Who is everybody? We. Who is we? Show me a picture. I can't fit them all in one picture. Okay, who are they? What is the name? What location? Demographic? What have you basically drafted up a consensus to these people that don't want to see Crawford Canelo, who's saying it's not the biggest fight in boxing? It's the biggest fight. And what makes it even that much more entertaining is the it factor that it has with the possibility of Crawford going in there and once again making your favorite fighter look like they're nobody. He has the opportunity and the chance to go in there. Even Crawford is not getting the lion's share. You know what I'm saying? He's not getting the bulk load, the A side. Why? Because Canelo is the undisputed champion. I mean, kudos to the champ, bro. Kudos to him. Kudos to Canelo asking for 150 for this whooping. Kudos to you, Canelo. Once again, you are getting paid, but does Canelo have the hunger? Does Canelo have the hunger? Is he motivated? Does Canelo have the hunger? Is he motivated? With 150 in the bank on top of everything else that's in there already, does he have the physical ability? Is his mental blade sharp enough to go in there and beat the so-called smaller fighter? An opponent that has the same equitable divisions that Canelo Alvarez have right now? Is Canelo willing to have a one-on-one with himself, right? And say, you know what? Somebody sent me this link where this guy Combat was saying it's Operation No Mas. Does Canelo, does he really truly does he really understand there's a possibility he can say no mas? Does Canelo understand what that consists of? Does Canelo understand how detrimental and dangerous Crawford is as a fighter? This is something that's way more than just being an underdog. When you have a fighter like Crawford who's proven himself over and over and over again, he's still undefeated. But yet, the dramatics comes into play from the haters and the naysayers who will say, oh man, I thought Crawford lost that fight. That's the way I see it. They have to convince themselves of lies. Is Canelo going to fall in the trap too? Canelo, you listening? Are you going to fall into this trap? Are you going to fall into the trap of being a non-believer? Are you just satisfied with the 150 and say, I never thought I'll get this, but man, it feels good. Guaranteed 150 million. That's a lot of money. And you're telling me all I have to do is answer the bell? No, no, no. That's not all you got to do. Canelo, you still have to fight for your fans. Now, who are they? I mean, I heard Combat ask the same thing. Like, who are my fans? I know my Mexican fans. I know their loyalty. I know how strong they are. But all these other little infiltrators and shit, these refugees just kind of come over here from Texas and shit. Where are they? Who's signing the papers? Where's ICE when you need them? Well, to be honest with you, Canelo, they are U.S. citizens. No. You know, they're trying to come over here and act like they've been a part of the Canelo fan base the entire time. We don't need them. Well, Canelo, I need for you to show some grace because these are some of the lost ones, the ones that disappeared July 30th. You know what I'm getting at. No, I don't. Explain. That's when Crawford dispersed and annihilated Errol Spence Jr. and a lot of his fan bases. Like, it changed the scope of YouTube. I mean, all these people that was smoking Bud shirts, Canelo, they disappeared. They disappeared, Canelo. And that's what I'm saying to you. They're so motivated just to come back above ground, Canelo. Please accept them in. No. Bad luck. I don't want them over here. And just like in Japanese, dame. Hey, Canelo do not want the refugees from Errol Spence's fan base to try to join them just to become agitators and act like they've been messing with Canelo the whole time. No, Canelo has one of the strongest fan bases in the game of boxing. Period. They don't need any new members, especially ones who are mentally debilitated. They come in with disabilities. They come in needing therapy. See, Crawford fans, they rebels with a cause. See, over here, we rebels with a cause, dog. People can say what they want about Crawford fans. You know, the one common theme that they are trying to allocate in the algorithm of social media is that I want to say this to all you D riders. I mean, come on, how many times are we going to say that? How many times? Butt buddies. Oh, yeah, both starts with a B. It doesn't come close to the aerosexuals. It doesn't. Look, we don't need to make up a name for Canelo fans or whatever. His fans are his fans. And so is Bud's fans. Crawford fans are his fans, period. They rebels with a cause. That's how we roll. Crawford fans don't go in here and basically don't talk about him as a fighter and his strengths and weaknesses, if any. We don't go around busy focusing on not talking about the fighter that we support. That was the downfall and the demise of the aerosexuals. But see, the good thing about Canelo fans, I don't have to worry about that. I know his fans is going to rock with him heavy. Even it doesn't matter who they are. I mean, this is a quite different layout than what it was Crawford Spence. You have two strong fan bases and you have two strong fighters. You have both pair of fighters who have a heavy chest plate of medals. And also, they've been campaigning and in attendance. They've been a tenant on the pound for pound list for years. They're qualified. Regardless of what you think, you know, regardless of you all that never completed math and you went up to the counselor, hey, you put me in for basic one-on-one math, which is the lower math, but I just can't do it. I mean, those numbers, when they start to grow, like I got 2 + 2. I know that's 5, okay? But when it start going to 5, you know, plus 0, it's just something about that really throws me off. This is going to be different. This is going to be different. This is going to be different. This is going to be different than the fish fry. Now, this is going to be a fiesta. This is going to be a fiesta. The best is fighting the best. That's what y'all asked for. Forget the 14. Forget having problems, y'all. We're trying to act like it's impossible within a 12-month period. It's going to be over 12 months to say that this man can't gain weight the right way, to go from 154 to 168 when you already had Jermell Charlo do it. You didn't give a fuck about Jermell Charlo. Why? Because you said to yourself, at the end of the day, Jermell Charlo, he was a last minute replacement for his brother Jamal. So I really can't take that into full consideration. All right, cool. All right, I got it. All right, I got it. Even though he was undisputed at 154, you still don't give him credit. Oh man, we thought we was gonna see better. We just didn't. He really was a mover, per Canelo. And I'm not speaking for his entire fan base, but he do know who I am because I've dropped him a comment on X and all that. He said he doesn't like movers. And I said, man, that's going to make this all the better because I really don't see Crawford moving like people think he's going to move. Now, I'm saying if you have the option to adjust, yes, Crawford is A1 at making adjustments in the ring, right? But when you talk about moving, fleeing, aborting mission with no common plan to return offense, that's a foreign language. I don't see that being Crawford, though. I see him landing and countering Canelo. I see them shutting down some of Canelo's strong points that other fighters and trainers did not study enough to negate. They didn't study enough to negate one, 2, or 3 of Canelo's strengths, because it's not many strengths that he have, yo. Let's be honest, he's flat-footed. He walks around. You saw him just walking around the ring. It's not like he can't cut off the ring. But a fighter be up against the ropes. He'll walk up to him and try to throw a crushing hook to the body. And his opponent has already left the scene. What is he going to do with Crawford? He's going to give him that Caleb Plant energy. We see he didn't get a knockdown with William Skull, even though it was rumored that Skull said somebody told him, don't go in there and put your all into it. Right? I'm not saying that's anything that's true or false. It was just rumored that that's what he said. I think with Crawford, it's going to be the technique and it's going to be the principle. Real talk. I mean, to a lot of Canelo fans, I mean, when I tell you it's going to be the technique and the principle, you might still hold down a vacancy. You know what I'm saying? You might still hold that vacancy up top and say, it's not for me to believe. From what I listen to these people, and we're talking about domesticated boxing fans. Not boxing fans that's troglodytes that just coming out the cave, waving clubs and shit. Hey, speaking a language we don't fucking know. No, we talking about domesticated boxing fans that refuse to believe that Crawford can make Canelo pay in the worst way. I myself believe this fight is going to be much different in the first 6 rounds than people even imagined when they looked at Spence Crawford. They never thought that Crawford was going to throw a 2-1 and knock Spence down with a jab. They never thought that was going to come as early as it did in the second round. What about you? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? I mean, I'm not here because of the haters have an absence of thought. You know what I'm saying? They're trying their best to just keep that space vacant. They want to keep that space vacant when it comes to what general knowledge you should understand about boxing. A fight like this is dangerous both ways. But I myself, I'm being absolutely genuine in believing that skill wise, Crawford can go in there and beat Canelo and dominate him. It's the fans that want to argue you down and tell you that they're not casuals that's going to tell you it's no way it can happen. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones that's going to say it's no way. Hey, come back. It's no way it can happen. Why? Because it's weight classes. They got the same shit all the time. You know, you see that spoon, you know, it's just like you find a fresh pile of goddamn puke, you know, dung, cow dung and shit. And you just spoon feeding the same thing. Why? Why can't it happen? It's weight classes for a reason. Hey, take this spoon again. It's hot too. Oh, look at those fly maggots on that. Eat that. That's protein. Well, how did that taste to you? It's nasty. Okay, that's the way I feel when you keep on saying it's weight classes for a reason. Do y'all not understand that most of us took a science class when we was going through our basic education? Do you understand? We did. And within science class, we learned a lot of different areas about science. To some, it was very complicated, complex, right? And to others, it came with a sense of ease. They picked it up pretty well. The boxing is a sweet science where certain freaking styles negate other styles. And then you have certain styles that are considered complete boxing styles that what we believed is going to happen, what we believe is going to be a tough matchup, you have one side, one fighter end up dominating the other when they both are considered to be top tier elite fighters, skill for seed, technique for technique. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you have an unorthodox. I'm not talking about just fighting with the lead left. No, I'm talking about stylistically. They might have wide winging shots. They might be like Isaac Cruz. They might be a fighter that basically goes to the well over and over again, repeat the same shot. That's part of the sweet science. Because if that fighter who continues to load up on their punches over and over again with the same, and their opponent is not making them pay for it, that's part of the sweet science. It happens. For the life of all of it, that's why I cannot understand why certain people are just complacent to say, well, I just don't see it with Crawford. You don't see it at all. No. I mean, with your eyes closed or open? My eyes are open. Have you ever thought about closing it and using your imagination and eating a couple of mushrooms and see, does it, it hit home? Why don't you try that out now? Chase it with something. You know what I'm saying? Chase it with something to get a different effect and come back into me. You ever thought about psychedelics to dive a little bit more into how your brain works? It's possible for some crazy shit to happen in September. But I just want to put it out there to the fight fans that don't believe that it's a possibility for a fighter to come up, advance from 2 weight classes, 3 weight classes, and be very successful. When I talk about how Bam Rodriguez did it, people look at it like, oh, he barely had to move up any pounds. Oh, that's not the same. But you say weight classes are for a reason. Why just Rodriguez, though? Who gave him the call up? Why did they feel he was fit for duty? For him to go up there and disperse a Kudras and Sor Rungfasai, who would have thought he did that? But then when you break it down to people, they sit up here and say, that's just a small weight class. They barely even had any pounds to move up. They still had to move up, though. They still had to move up. But people want to say, oh man, from 118, the super bantamweight, man, that ain't that many pounds, man. It's still, you're talking about individuals who's been fighting in that weight class at Superfly and the ones who wasn't. For him to come up and do that, and for many others throughout boxing to move up and do the exact same thing, come on, man. We know we saw Sugar Ray go up here and go through hell and high water when Donnie was putting them paws on him. Donnie looked huge in there against Sugar Ray. Knocked him down to the canvas. I'm like, I still to this day remember seeing that. I'll say, damn, Sugar Ray, man. Man, this is going to be tough. I mean, Donnie was looking sharp. And that technique, boy, that boxing IQ. You know, sometimes a fighter's mindset to come into a fight, knowing that they're the bigger fighter that's dropping down a weight class and fighting at a catch weight, they feel like, hey, I'm way bigger after rehydrations. No way that Sugar Ray Leonard is going to do anything to me. And when he dropped him to the canvas, he's like, yeah, just what I thought. His corner's telling him he can't fuck with you, man. He's too small. It's weight classes for a reason. Until Sugar Ray started putting those combos together, bro. Until he started to show why he's Sugar Ray Leonard and everything that he has learned throughout his boxing career. He's showing how to properly execute it against a bigger opponent. But the sad part about this shit, it's almost like this boxing community is in shackles, bro. I mean, not the physical shackles that's around the joints, considerably the wrist or the ankles. We're talking about shackles when it comes to your boxing knowledge. You're shackled down on just basically believing one area of boxing. And that's the mindset to basically agitate, to be agitators. Not really being open-minded enough to believe other things can happen. You're just going to be locked in and you're just going to keep repeating the same stuff over and over again like you're getting it from some type of boxing Bible. The boxing Bible doesn't exist. It's people that's around here that try to act like they're preaching from behind the podium and it's the scripture of boxing, but it ain't. It's people that's unwilling to go up here and read and do further research because they're temporaries. They're not here covering the sport of boxing like that. They don't care. They don't care about this. All they want to do is be a part of a chat group. If you're talking ill about Crawford, I want to be here. I want to be in the chat talking crap about Crawford. But once again, you're not going to see too many chats with Crawford fans going on here just crapping on Canelo. I know the hottest chat in the game. I don't see it over here. That's what I respect. The quality of listeners and supporters that I got, because regardless of what I'm talking about, they're not going to just think and speak just based off what I'm saying. They have their own sense of thinking. It's way beyond maturity. It's the fact that they make a decision. They have the fortitude. They have the courage. They have the know-how. They have the intellect. If it's something that isn't right based off their research, they'll put it in the chat and say, hey, this is what it's supposed to be right here. I think you meant to say that right there. And this, that. That's how, you know, each one teach one. But some of these chats, they're solely based off criticizing Crawford. It's weight classes for a reason. Over and over and over again. And I'm telling you, it's Operation No Mas. That's what I'm saying. It's 111 days. Everything is calculated. 3 wins, 3 freaking losses, homie. It's 111 days to September 13th from this day forward. Don't feel no type of way because there's plenty of other thumbnails that's coming. Don't worry about it. Don't be huffing and puffing. Stop spitting all over your PC and your phone and shit, man. Calm down. It ain't nothing but boxing talk. Don't treat it as if it's a harmful viral freaking contamination going on. No, I'm not here to stress you the F out. No, I'm just telling you. I want you to be a little bit more civil about this September 13th fight. Okay? There's many components that can win the fight for both fighters. Many. Some of those components is going to be inside the ring. And of course, we know some of those components can be outside the ring. If you feel what I'm saying, but I'm only thinking about the fighter that I believe to the core, without any doubt, he can go in there and beat Canelo. And that's Crawford. Regardless of what you say, I'm not just saying he can beat him because he's black and he's from Omaha. I believe Crawford is a better overall boxer than Canelo when it comes to variety, when it comes to versatility, when it comes to boxing IQ. I truly believe that I know for a fact, I've never heard somebody say Crawford has mentioned that he don't like this type of fighter because it requires him to do a lot more work. I've never heard nobody say that. But you heard Canelo say, I don't like movers. Huh? Maybe you should compete at the ankle weight division. Maybe they should make another division for Canelo on his way out the door called the ankle weight division. Because Canelo has been on record as whining and complaining that he don't like movers. He like boxers to stand there like Gennady. He like the James Kirklands, the Amir Khans. He like the one complimentary knockdown for a Starbucks card. John Ryder, Jamel Charlo, Tommy Munguia, Edgar Berlanga, all who have got their prepaid Starbucks cards. Yes, with a complimentary knockdown. Yeah. A 3-night stay at your local motel. But not with Skull. Not with Skull. Skull wouldn't play by the same rules, man. Like I said, I haven't heard anyone say that they heard Crawford mention that he don't like this specific fighter. To me, with the mad scientist Bo McIntyre, I think a lot that's going to play a huge role is the instructions that are being given by the trainers in between rounds and while the round is active. For real. I believe that's going to play a significant role in this tactical chess match come September 13th. I expect Terrence Bud Crawford to put on another masterclass tuition free. You gotta love it now. You gotta love Crawford giving back to boxing in this way. He's about to give you all another pound for pound fight. He's about to show you what it means to underestimate, to be a casual boxing fan. He's pretty much going to provide you a charitable donation by putting on another masterclass tuition free for the boxing fans that simply say he can't do it. Okay. All right, cool. I'm going to put in a petition for Canelo because he's been whining so much about he don't like freaking fighters that move. Let's try to get him. They got the Bridger weight. Let's get a Canelo division, the ankle weight division. He still has time. You know what I'm saying? After he get beat by Crawford, he has 2 more fights on his freaking 4-fight deal, which everybody's bragging around. Oh my God, he's getting this many millions. Okay. Let's make him an ankle weight division and get some other flat-footed fighters to come in there. And I'm pretty sure Mauricio Suleiman will allow Canelo to be the first to fight for a WBC belt in the ankle weight division. You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, let's help. Let's help Canelo. You know, you Canelo fans, why don't you try to help him? You know, get the petitions together and all that. It's just a little flattery. You know what I'm saying? Why don't y'all try to do something for Canelo to help him, you know, handle the fighting pride of the team Crawford. That's all. I think it's a good ask myself. Let's go to the comments right quick. Hey, shout out to Trick Noty in the building. $2 super chat on deck. What it do? The Oracle on deck. What's good? Just saying what's up. Salute to you, Trick. Always appreciate you pulling up, man. Thanks for the donation and support. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I can't go, you know, comment for comment. I sent you a video of Brandon on WhatsApp. Okay, for sure. I will definitely check that out next time around. I'm gonna check it out when I get off here. But appreciate that, Pima. Okay, if your birthday, man, happy birthday to Puma, man. Happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how old you are, but prosperity is everything. Happy birthday to you, brother. Shout out to OG Golden. Errol was doing what is best for him and his family, and that's staying where he is at. I get you. But, you know, his fans there, OG, his fans are not willing to just call it a wrap, to put the padlock on Errol Spence's boxing history, his boxing career. They're not, hey, OG, they're not willing to padlock it yet, man. Because when you hate a fighter so much, they're hoping and wishing that something comes out of it. Like, they don't want Bud to have the credit, even though he already has. The man haven't been able to return. They don't want Bud to have the key to retirement, Spence, and sending him away for 28-1. I mean, even Spence himself, even on the ranch, you know, with that breeze blowing on him, looking across the plain, I'm pretty sure conversation is struck. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Self has had a conversation and said, hey, man, you know they out there asking about you. When you plan on coming back? You know, I'm pretty sure Self has had a little dialogue. Seriously. He was sparring 130 pounders yesterday in Delaware. He's 1-on-1. He handled it his own. All right, that's what's up, man. Shout out to the young warrior, man. Okay, shout out to B-Mac, man. Happy birthday to y'all. Y'all dudes getting old. Welcome to the club, old niggas. Welcome to the club. I bet y'all woke up different. This morning. Them backs starting to crack and knees starting to squeak. You better go and grab that WD-40 and oil that shit down. You better hurry up. Shout out to BG. Bug gonna stop Canelo in the building. What it do, man? I think if any listener is hated the most, you know, I mean, it's gonna be Bug gonna stop Canelo. I mean, it's only fitting. You know what I'm saying? I bet they're gonna goddamn approach him and say, hey man, you thought, hey man, hey, we need for you to change that up, man. For real. We ain't gonna do no paperwork. I'm just telling you, you need to change that name. I'm not an Errol section, but it's sad to see a career end like that. I'm not sure if it's ended. I'm not sure if it's ended, man. I mean, I like it. I don't know. Do y'all see anything about Africa up here? Huh? Look, one thing I know about the strays when they come over here, they always got to make it about race. But that thumbnail ain't about race. That's just him fighting a Mexican fighter, one of the best of this era. That's all I'm saying. That's one of the best of this era. Mexican colors, man. It's called creativity. You know, and look, they don't understand that Africans themselves, even though I'm a Black American, they're not sitting up here embracing us as Black. I experienced that in the service, man. They can be pretty discriminatory too and prejudice. They just don't accept Black Americans as Africans. And you know, if they do it, so you know, putting that up there, that's easy. That's laughable. You know, if I had the opportunity to live in Wakanda the way it is per the movie, I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. I definitely want some of that vibranium. Yeah. Yeah. Show me where Wakanda at. I love that. I love that for real. This like when the UK was hyping up Holly Joe Saunders, um, to beat Canelo. Well, you know, Billy Joe was pretty much trying to talk that talk himself. He set the return back to the ring, I think at cruiserweight or something like that. I think he's returning back to the ring. I don't know if he's in fight camp still. He looked like when he was trying to get into the locker room of Connor Ben and Chris Eubanks, they didn't let him go in there. You know. I mean, I don't see where you say he's chinny at though. Even the way he's posted on this freaking thumbnail, credit myself for the detail. If you look closely, it has 3 time in the middle. You know what I'm saying, Isaac? Ooh, 111 days before reality strikes. You know, I mean, come on, you gotta say that's a pretty creative thumbnail from scratch at that. You know, it look, if you're gonna come over here, get your material together because it's either gonna be about race or y'all gonna say it's chinny. But the one thing we can say for absolutely certainty is that he's undefeated. Crawford's been on record admitting to being hurt by Gamboa. So the mere fact of you saying he's chinny, but yet undefeated, we can say the same thing about Jose Cotto hurting Canelo. You know, we can talk about how Dimitri Bivol, as a recent, was just having his way with Canelo, pushing him up against the rope. Canelo didn't have a response to it. Oh, I love it. I love it. Shout out to Snack. Quality supplements. Quality. And the good thing about Snack is that it is recorded that Bud has never been on Snack his entire career. So transparently, it's nothing to say that when he was knocking heads off prior to Snack, when he came on Snack, he was still knocking heads off. I mean, what is there to say? I mean, is you're not going to emphasize skills? Are you going to emphasize skills? Please, no excuses. Emphasize. Don't come in here half a quarter measured. Okay, I need like you're in the company of the hottest chat in the game. Okay, I've heard Wakanda. I've heard Snack. I've heard Chinny. Come on, I need some material. Give me something fresh. I mean, this is not fresh. This is the same stale, banal type of criticism, man. I mean, heavy Snack cycle. That's why he hasn't fight since month. No, he's properly preparing himself to step in there and stop Canelo. Just all you got to do is look at Bud gonna stop Canelo. I know that's why you're a bit disgruntled at the minute, because how dare somebody be in the chat with the conclusion of the fight September 13th. Shout out to the strays. He said, that's the case. Canelo's been on clenbuterol his entire career, penalties. offset, down over. Don't kick game like that, dog. Don't do it. See, look, I'm not even coming back with the Klan off a snack cycle, but he's never been suspended. But he has been on record admitting to being hurt because it's a combat sport, a full contact sport, right? But with the sweet signs, they claim it's the hurt business. But these cats over here acting like you're not supposed to get hurt. Come on, man. Come on. You're supposed to get hurt, yo. OG Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz in the building. What it do, man? Somebody said SOG can't stand for the son of God. You bearing false witness. Dang, how can you bear false witness? Why are they so Look, if boxing allowed Crawford to compete in a professional sport where they also approved a prior offender, felon, to be a part, to migrate, to hold down a position, right? To be able to network in boxing, you can't blame any other fighters that's on snack because boxing allowed him to be in the sport and make money. They're allowing this man to make money, and he's a felon, just like the fighters. Some of the fighters in here. So boxing is non-regulated. Who are you gonna call to place a grievance? Canelo is a Mexican Peter McNeely. Ooh, a hype job. That's when faced with the real dog got whooped. I gotta put that up there for replay game. God dang. So are you saying it's gonna end in early fashion? Because one thing I can say about Peter, man, he went out there in real life. Peter would drop them hands on somebody. Like, dude was tough. He wasn't a punk at all. Peter went out there to knock chins, decapitate. Dude was all about the smoke. He just was in there with a DOG. He was in there with a beast. I do give him credit for his fighting pride. Hey, I give him credit. Peter was no punk. Peter was no punk, man. That's crazy. Errol Spence was so goofy that Canelo's fan base don't want their support. Hey, they don't want those tainted, psychological, debilitated, you know what I'm saying, abort mission, non-supportive fans that come out the bunkers and try to go over there and infiltrate Canelo's fan base. No, Canelo fan base don't need them, man. They're doing just fine without them. They don't need the babysit. No aerosexuals trying to come over there and act like they've been rocking with Canelo the whole time. Don't do it. They feel like this is the opportune moment to resuscitate themselves. No, leave that shit alone, bro. Nah. Well, that's something I don't think that ever would have happened, even in hindsight. He said, "Do you think Spence got the W? If Spence, I never thought Spence was getting anything, even knowing that Crawford beat Spence already. I would say, to answer your question, I never thought that Spence was going to beat Crawford. Period. So there's no reason to go back in fantasy world and take out my freaking imaginary pen and no, take out my brush and paint up a picture on how I thought or how I believe it would have went if Errol Spence, if a lot of shit would have happened for Errol. First of all, which I think you're leaving out, is the rematch. Okay. First and foremost, a rematch. It would have been a rematch. So we can't go no further than there. If we're talking about fantasy, we're talking about rematch. Okay. But at no point in time I thought he had a chance of beating Crawford. At no point. I told people to score a fight like he didn't want to hurt Canelo, but wasn't going to allow him to be knocked out either. So yes, I wholeheartedly believe it's possible someone told him that. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Why would he have to lie? Why would he have to lie though? Why would Skull have to lie? He got paid very well, and he went in there and showed that he definitely has good track potential. You know what I'm saying? Sign him up for the boxing track club for real. He is, a good potential to medal if they ever have the boxing track Olympics. Him and Charlo, put them in the sprints. God damn it. The weight class rhetoric is literally dumb because back in the day, you literally had to move up in what today is considered 2 weight jumps. I hate sheep in Paris. Hey man, good point. Good point. Because when this new information came out, they was talking about going back to the traditional weight classes, and the illiteracy of some of these casuals is to complain about going back to the traditional weight classes. It was 8 weight classes, and they up here acting like the shit is just, oh no, man. No way, dude. What are they talking about? Traditional weight classes. They're more so focused on Dana White. You know what I'm saying? I like, you're absolutely right. It was a difference back then. It was a big difference. They talking about going back to a traditional weight class, and they act like, the shit was wrong. They had lightweight, bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. And they get mad because you have to skip through some commonalities that we're used to today just because it was traditional. That just shows that people are deficient in their boxing knowledge because they just want to be in the chat talking. But great point. Great point, man. I just wanted you guys' opinion on that because people say Spence versus Canelo would be better. Okay. So once again, I don't know the people. Okay. You're talking about the haters. Where are the people at? I don't know what the people could be one person, yourself. I don't know the people, because if you're talking about the popularity or looking at style versus style, 2 flat-footed fighters come forward would be better. Yeah, if you're looking at it that way, if you want a more so Mexican style jamboree, yeah, Errol Spence and Canelo may give you a much more predictable outcome, because people looking at it like, well, it's definitely going to be some punishment, and they're going to be standing right there in front of each other, and it's going to be a knock 'em out, bang 'em out type of fight. People not saying that about Crawford. There's a partially check mark on people saying there may be more better bout. If you're talking about in hindsight how popular Spence was before, I mean, it was people up here bigging him up to face Canelo for 147. Nobody was talking about 14 pounds then. It was more than 14 pounds. Nobody was talking about no 14 pounds. They was like, we want to see Errol Spence versus Canelo Alvarez. Not until the Omaha Monster came up here and goddamn rearranged EJ to Freddy Krueger. All right. They even hated him more. And that's why they're not trying to support him facing Canelo, because they know he's a dangerous fight for Canelo, And it's not going to be the same come forward type of Mexican style fight that the people would have gotten if Errol Spence was in that position. They said for a long time. I remember having countless debates on saying that Errol Spence is one-dimensional. And people say, oh, no. What are you talking about? He can move. Straight forward, straight back. Straight forward, straight back. That's what he do. He can let his hands go. But I can understand why people believe in that would be a more exciting fight to satisfy them. Was tailor made for Canelo. That's why Canelo fans want it. Facts, man. Facts. Hey, man. You got to ask Triple G that. Hey, man, I would like to see Triple G and Hagler fight, man. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see Triple G and Hagler fight because they just felt like Triple G was a machine. Like they seemed like Triple G was just this monster. He couldn't be beat, yo. You know, he was tough, but come on, man. There's no boxing community except the diehard people who want the best for the sport. I wish I could agree with you on that, but I can't. It's just too many little small microcosms of groups that's out here of people that's pushing agendas. You know, it's just they just push agendas all the freaking time, man. And they rehearse this shit. They hit the replay, they rehearse information that they believe is right instead of just doing research. And then look, just like Puma's knowledge base, being that he actually has a family member that competes in certain areas of boxing, he's going to be able to give his expert opinion because of the experience that he's going through right now. Some others that's on the outside in the social media bubble, they pretend to act like all the knowledge that they're soaking in, like they're some type of boxing sponge. They believe that they are being educated on a certain part of the curriculum, and that's all they need. They can go up here and talk the talk without actually going to the university. You need to go and stop into the university. The university is some of these musty ass gyms, and you need to go and sit through some of these freaking training. You need to go to these amateur tournaments. You need to attend these fights. You need to see what the ground floor looks like, what it smells like, how it sounds in there. You got to get used to that shit to further educate yourself on boxing. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, talk to him, dog. You know, talk to him. Hey, shout out to Bill's Boot Camp in the building. What's good with it, Bill? He said, I don't fight the honor with honor, I meant, but he did. But yeah, this has just been another edition. Operation No Mas. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 111 days to Bud Crawford split the ropes to go in there and hand Canelo his third loss. It's gonna be a lot of threes on that night. It's gonna be Canelo's third loss, and Bud Crawford's gonna become 3 times undisputed. Yes, you may not like it. It may not sound. It may not be something that's palatable to your boxing appetite. I got it. I get it. It's supposed to be like a salt tablet with no chaser. That's how reality hits you sometime, you know. But shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and game, man. You already know what it is. Till next time, peace.